So is a real estate market really about to bust? Or are we just heading to something big? Maybe it's going to be something messy or even something like 2008 all over again, right? Guys, if you've been watching the headlines or even scrolling social media like I have, you're probably seeing a wave of dramatic videos just warning that the sky is falling, right? I mean, the market crash is incoming. I mean, prices are set to dive. Housing bubbles ready to explode, and the algorithms just love this stuff. But the truth? Most of those videos just mix in a 1-part reality with 5 parts fear. So what I'm going to do today for you is I want to walk you through is what's actually happening. And it's not about the panic. It's not hype. It's just the honest to God breakdown. And more importantly, the caution and the strategy that you need to navigate the next 12 to 24 months without making a mistake you're going to regret. Guys, and stick with me here because halfway through, we're going to shift into the affordability conversation because I really, really want to address this. Because I want to show you which is where the pressure really is. And that's the thing that nobody's explaining very clearly. They're just saying everything's unaffordable. So here's what we're going to be digging into today. And what I'm going to do is I'm going a lot deeper than I normally do. First of all, you need to know why does everyone suddenly think a crash is incoming? But most importantly, what is the real data saying? And we're talking layman terms. But also, what's the difference between a slowdown and a bust? But why that is really contributing to the affordability squeeze and why is that the real issue? Because at the end of the day, the caution you need to keep in mind is the strategy that will actually protect you. And look, guys, by the end of this video, you're going to understand the market better than 90% of the people that are talking about it online. All right, first of all, guys, let's start where the fear really starts. Social media, right? And what happens is guys, we're still an emotional hangover from 2008. It's been well over a decade. MySpace was a big thing then, but guess what? The people haven't forgotten. And if you live through it, what you remember is neighborhoods losing homes, foreclosures were going on everywhere. The price drops are nuts. And it just felt like the whole world was falling apart, right? So whenever something feels even slightly off today, that's why you see so many people just jump straight into it. And they're like, oh, great, here we go again. And what happens is that fear is so baked into the conversation to get attention, whether we like it or not. And what happens is if you know social media, it just thrives on panic. I mean, nobody wants to watch a calm, rational market explanation, but the crash is coming, right? And guys, that just gets clicks fast at the end of the day. Here's the thing. A lot of people are making those videos. They're not even real estate agents or they're even in real estate. What they do, they go read the highlight headlines. They stay at a Holiday Inn Express and now they're an expert. They just react to these headlines. So when you look at it, what I will tell you though, the market is shifting, but the prices aren't skyrocketing like they were and homes aren't selling instantly either. That's very obvious. Rates have jumped. Inventory has risen quite a bit. So what happens is people just assume that the changing market is just meaning that it's crashing. But at the end of the day, I mean, markets typically don't go from hot to disaster. They go from hot to warm, sometimes cool, before they even get close to freezing. And guys, stay with me because in just a minute, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what the most important numbers to realize when you predict a crash. And right now, the story is still telling a different story. Is there risk? Yes, there's always risk. But I want to make sure this is broke down clearly because you're probably wondering, is the market actually at risk? And the answer is, yeah, it is, but not at the moment. And it's not at the reasons that people keep shouting it out. So what I look at first is the fundamentals. Inventory is rising, but it is still too low for a crash. And what a crash requires is a massive flood of homes as we've seen a gradual rise of homes. You have to remember, we right now, there is inventory everywhere, but we're not at oversupply yet. We don't have that. And when you look at builders, they underbuilt for over 10 years. And when you can add that into baby boomers are staying put longer, what that creates is millions of homeowners have interest rates they never wanted to lose. So in many areas, demand has softened, but the supply hasn't surged to a point yet. And the market can cool without collapsing is what we're actually seeing. Because think about it, guys. I mean, pre-COVID homeowners, they have strong equity, but when you look at 22 and 23, that's where the buyers are really feeling the squeeze. And one thing that shaped the market right now is that gap between pre-COVID homeowners and the folks that bought in 22 and 23. And if you're honest with yourself when you think about it, if you bought your home before COVID, you're probably sitting on a ton of equity, right? I mean, prices ran up fast, interest rates were low, and the appreciation did a lot of the heavy lifting for you. And for many of those homeowners, that equity does mean stability. You got room to breathe. You have options. You can move, sell, refinance, remodel. You're probably not going to refinance though. But most importantly, you got protection. So even if the market wobbles, you're buffered. So what happens is if life throws them a curveball like a job loss, relocation, family change, guys, those people are not in desperate situations. They can walk, they can sell traditionally, and they can still walk away with a nice cushion. But that story is very, very different for many of the buyers who purchased in 2022 or 2023. And guys, these are the folks who bought during the peak prices and the peak interest rates. And what happens is they didn't get the benefit of that big early pandemic appreciation because that supply was so low. So what happens is some bought because they had to, yes, but there's also those who bought because they just feared missing out. And then you have some that bought just because the market was moving so fast, they just didn't have any time to breathe. So when you think about that now, those homeowners don't have the same equity cushions as the people before COVID. And what happens is those people, they feel stuck with high payments and they feel like they're house rich, but very, very cash poor. And many of those people, they worry about selling because they're not sure if they're going to be able to walk away with much or end up having to pay. And when you add that tension in, the divide between the highly equified pre-COVID owners, along with these stressed in 2023 owners, that's why the market feels very, very strange now, and it feels like two different markets. So that's why, guys, I say this, it's not a crash scenario, it's a pullback. But the affordability and the comfort level scenario, that's why the strategy matters so much in a market when you're purchasing. And when you look at the mortgage lending, guys, it is very, very strict and it's getting harder to qualify again. And that's another big difference between now that led up to 2008 and how incredibly strict mortgage lending has become today. And honestly, it's not just strict, it's just getting harder and harder just to qualify for a loan. I talk to LOs all the time. And what happens is those risky, no income, no verification loans that helped trigger the 2008 collapse, guys, they don't exist anymore. They're completely gone. And what today lenders have to do, they have to dig deeper into your background so they're not at risk. And what happens is though underwriting standards, they become tighter and they look at your income, your assets, job history. It's all verified, it's double checked, and it's questioned again. And over the last couple of years, especially when the rates have climbed, lenders have been very, very evenly cautious. They're watching the debt to income ratios like I talked about so much more closely. And what they're requiring is a whole lot stronger credit. But what they're trying to do, they're trying to limit the risk wherever they can. And that is good for potential buyers. And what this means is this. The people who do get approved today, guys, they're qualified. They're financially vetted. And they're not the ones who missed a paycheck away from just losing their home. So while it may be tougher for many buyers, especially for first-time home buyers to get a home, the upside is that the overall system is trying to make it far more stable to prevent the crash. But guys, what we don't have is millions of overstretched, unstable loans sitting out there like we did before the last crash. And what this tight lending environment does, it creates one of the biggest reasons we're not in the crash territory right now, even if the process feels more challenging for buyers trying to get qualified. So look at this. When you look at the demand, it hasn't disappeared. It is adjusting though, because life just keeps on moving. Jobs relocate, families grow, people retire, people downsize, people divorce, people move on for better quality of life. Guess what? It's life. And what it is, that just creates a natural built-in demand for housing. And now we have Gen Z starting to step into the home buying age. That wave hasn't even peaked yet, and I would argue it hasn't even started yet. And that's the number that's going to tell the real story. Because as you look at economists, they watch the mortgage delinquencies more than anything else. So before the 2008 crash, delinquencies shot up, the default skyrocketed, foreclosures piled up. Guys, when you look at everything today, delinquencies are still low when you look at everything historically, but guys, they are on the rise. That does signify that the market is getting stressed out. Not time to hit the panic button yet. When you look at foreclosures, they are still low historically. And what I will tell you, if a crash were brewing, that number would already be climbing very, very fast, and it's not. But, and this is where our conversation does shift. That doesn't mean everything is smooth sailing though either. But because like when you look at everything, while we're not seeing crash indicators, we are seeing something else. And this is where I put a lot of caution, and there's a lot of caution that comes in. And this is the part that nobody wants to talk about because it's what everyday people feel the most. Affordability is the real challenge right now. People want to purchase houses, but it doesn't mean a crash. It doesn't mean a bubble. It's just nothing is affordable. People can't afford to purchase. So guys, let's unpack this. Yes, prices are dropping, but they're not dropping far enough. I mean, they're sticking. It's basically kind of like a market pullback is what we're seeing. But guys, even with the prices, even in areas where demand has cooled, they're still not falling enough for buyers to get back in the market. And why is this? It's like there is still not enough inventory to really cause the dramatic price decreases. So what it does, it keeps a floor on the under home values. So when prices do stay steady or they soften slightly, but at the end of the day, guys, they're not collapsing. The second thing is interest rates are doing the heavy lifting. And what is going on is like rates don't need to rise to cause pain. They're causing enough pain as high as they are right now. But when you need the prices to come back, they just need to stay high and they need to trickle back down. They're not going to come back down at a fast pace. So what happens is when you combine the steady prices, the higher rates, increased insurance, but also the property taxes in some of the areas, that monthly payment, what happens to it? Yeah, it becomes a whole lot more intense than it used to be, right? And guys, this is where I talk to buyers. They need to be very, very smart. They don't need to be scared though. Just smart. Because I understand. I mean, people are feeling the squeeze from all sides. I mean, inflation hits hard in everyday life. I mean, look at the grocery prices, the gas, electricity prices, water prices. They're all going up. Auto insurance, skyrocketing, medical costs. I can't even believe what some people pay for insurance these days. And what happens is all these costs, they end up adding up. So when you factor in a mortgage payment that might have felt easy 3 years ago, it feels pretty tight today, right? And even if your income hasn't changed. And that's why I tell people affordability stress doesn't crash the market, but it can crash your budget, especially guys, if you're not prepared. So this is where the caution, not fear, really, really matters. And let me pause here. Guys, I'm not telling you to panic. What I'm trying to tell you to do is be intentional. When the affordability really, really tightens, the people who get into trouble, they're the ones who rush. They don't check their budget. They're hoping for a quick refinance, and they end up buying at the top of their comfort range. This is not good decision making. Smart buyers win in this market, and impulsive buyers, they're going to struggle. Caution doesn't mean don't buy. It doesn't mean wait for the crash. It doesn't mean sit on the sidelines, because guys, there's a middle ground here, a very, very smart ground. And here's what that looks like. Know your real monthly comfort number. And guys, it's not the lender's number. It's not the maximum approval number. It is your number. That number is the one that's going to let you live comfortably with space for life to happen. And don't build your entire plan around refinancing. Will the rates drop eventually? Yes, probably. Will it happen in your timeline? Who knows? Everybody's been saying, marry the home, date the rate. But when that rate gets so high where it prices you out of your home, that's where buyers are getting struggled. At the end of the day, guys, nobody knows, but there's a plethora of buyers who are depending on the refinancing, but they can't do it because of the equity lost in their home. So when you buy a home, you can live in it comfortably, even if the rates don't drop right away. But guys, you need to think long-term. Don't think emotionally, because emotional is just in the moment. And if you plan to stay in a home 5 to 7 years, a slightly higher rate today isn't going to be a deal breaker. because what you're going to end up catching is you're going to catch the equity, the principal pay down. You're going to get potential future refinancing, because when you look at everything, shorter term fear is just going to ruin long-term opportunities. But number 4, guys, you need to understand what your backup plan is. I mean, ask yourself, what happens if rates stay high for 2 or more years? What happens if my job changes? Would I still be comfortable? And guys, if the answer is yes, you're buying smart. So look, let's bring everything all together. No, the market isn't showing the signs of crashing, but yes, affordability is really, really tight. And yes, guys, you do need a strategy. Let's face it. Everybody needs a strategy. I need a strategy. But what that looks like is depending on your situation. And look, what I tell you, if you're a buyer, get pre-approved early, know your comfortable number, but most importantly, mortgage payments should not exceed 30% of your income. And guys, I really prefer less than 28%. You need to be patient and you don't need to be desperate, but also look at neighborhoods outside your range, meaning especially if they've been on the market for more than 90 days. So you need to consider homes that need light cosmetic updates. So if you're a seller, you need to price based on what today's market is, not in 2022. But guys, you also need to make sure that your home stands out. And if you're in a starter home, don't just give carpet allowance. You need to replace the carpet. And what I would tell you is like presentation means more than ever. But also make sure that you understand buyer psychology in this environment. But lastly, guys, if you're a homeowner, make sure you're protecting your equity, watch the local market trends, make those intentional upgrades, but also keep an eye on the insurance and tax changes. But guys, through all this, you need to remember perfect timing is a myth. But what I tell you is strategy is real. If you want to keep building your strategy, whether it's buying, selling, relocating, downsizing, or even if you just want to update your home, reach out to me at any time. I'm just a plethora of knowledge of people who have helped me out, who I've worked with. And guys, there's no pressure. It's just clarity. And before you go, guys, I want you to drop in the comments and tell me your biggest concern about affordability right now, because I'd love to hear what you're seeing from your point of view. But guys, most of all, I want to know how you're feeling in the market. So again, guys, please like and subscribe, share this to everybody. I love you guys. If you need any questions, reach out. I look forward to seeing you in the comments below.